Everyone gets a real zoom in on my face today. Hooray. Do me a favor. Go to YouTube and type in the word anger and tell me about the results. Notice anything? Almost every single video at the top is somehow or another telling you about the antidote to anger. Like it's a status condition in an RPG. Well, just apply Curaga and you'll be healed of your anger. Is that the right spell? Asuna? Just apply Asuna and you'll be cured of your anger. That's how you get rid of that status condition. But I want to offer you something so much more free. Anger's actually your friend. A friend to keep an eye on, who's kind of sketchy sometimes, but certainly your friend. Game worlds are one of the few places that we can actually just be angry. No shoulds, no shouldn'ts, no caps or conditions, no apologies. We unleash it in boss fights, scream into the void of multiplayer lobbies, and press buttons harder when things don't go our way. In real life though, society treats anger more like a commodifiable taboo. If you're too angry, you're a threat. Take these pills. Not angry enough? You're weak, not man enough. Eat some meat. But in video games, we get to explore anger so much more freely, with no judgment. We can test it and practice it, express it, and sometimes even master it. So today, let's talk about anger. Let's talk about anger as a game mechanic. Let's talk about anger as a toxifier. And let's talk about anger as a doorway to something so much deeper and so much better.
If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this, you have the power to revoke at any moment. Meditations, Book 8, Section 47.
Kratos is one of the angriest men in gaming. Except for me! Yeah! Spartan Rage isn't just a cool gameplay feature. It's his personality, his trauma response, his inheritance, all at once. In the original trilogy, anger's like a wrecking ball for you to unleash from the place of deep hurt and betrayal. But in the 2018 reboot, anger becomes something so much more. Protection. When Kratos channels his fury to defend his son, Atreus, he's no longer angry at the world. He's angry for someone. His rage, once the band-aid that he put over his mistakes, becomes truly righteous, aimed at breaking cycles of violence, surviving grief, and shielding the vulnerable. When directed at systems of injustice, anger can be a wonderful fuel for activism and change. When aimed at protection, it becomes a really important expression of love. God of War reminds us that anger, when directed with thoughtful purpose, can be one of the most moral emotions that we can have. We've seen what anger can do when it's focused. Next, let's see what happens when it turns toxic.
The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. Meditations, Book 11, Section 18.
If God of War shows us anger as a forge, then games like League of Legends or Super Smash Bros. Melee show it as a wildfire. Ask anyone who's played Melee with friends in a tournament or anywhere in the competitive scene, you're gonna find stories of rage quits, broken controllers, and salty runbacks as almost like a rite of passage.
Oh my.
Oh!
That's it.
Oh my god.
And there goes the signal.
This isn't the righteous anger of defending others, it's competitive ego anger. A reaction to failure, embarrassment, or a lack of control. It turns into yelling at teammates, blaming lag, or often a deeply internalizing narrative of low self-worth.
No contest.
Psychologist Dr. Raymond Novaco out of UC Irvine does a really good job of naming this type of anger. He defines this as instrumental aggression. Anger that intentionally is used to hurt or control others. It's not about resolving conflict. It's about punishing perceived weakness, either externally or internally. And often, that punishment gets turned inward. Another way to say this, brine often runs deep. The Smash Brothers series in particular isn't a bad game series. In fact, it holds some really special places in my life that I think I'll talk about in some future videos, particularly Melee. But it and other games like it have been mirrors for our own egos, our own competitiveness, and our own emotional maturity or lack thereof. And unless we learn to channel that fire, we risk becoming the ones who are ultimately burned. If you've made it this far into the video, it probably means that something's been hitting hard for you. Awesome, thanks. Hey, use this as a reminder. Subscribe to my content so I can keep making stuff that reaches to you and people that you care about. Your subscription helps me reach more people and bring about a positive change that I think we're all looking for in the world.
Be like the rocky headland on which the waves constantly break. It stands firm, and around it, the seething waters are laid to rest. Meditations, Book 4, Section 49.
And I think this is why Dark Souls is such an interesting foil to this problem. On the surface, Dark Souls should be a rage game. You're constantly dying, losing progress, getting punished for the smallest mistakes. And yet, any Souls player will openly tell you, it's not about succumbing to anger to get good. It's about learning to sit with it until it no longer defines you. You can't simply brute force your way through Dark Souls. Every time you lash out, you make it so much worse. Every time you panic, the game punishes you. Instead, to succeed, you must slow down. You must observe. You must wait. In this way, Dark Souls and the Souls-like series has become a spiritual training ground, particularly for young men who were raised to believe that anger equals strength. It teaches men something pretty radical. True strength is restraint. Strength is not about smashing your controller, but mastering your skill and timing. Not raging to defeat the enemy, but outlasting them. That's why they say the best revenge is a life well lived. There's a reason that Dark Souls gets so many recommendations. It's kind of like a digital rite of passage, as it were. It's hard for a reason, not simply to break you, but to help you build something inside. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us,
when jarred unavoidably by circumstances, revert at once to yourself, and don't lose the rhythm more than you can help.
It's ironic then that in a game that's all about dying over and over, the real skill you learn isn't combat. It's emotional regulation. Games give us a place to feel anger without shame. In God of War, we see its power. In games like Melee, we see its danger. And in Dark Souls, we see its transformation. Anger doesn't need to be feared or hidden. It needs to be listened to, guided, and refined. As players and as people, we get the chance to choose. We can use anger to lash out, or we can use it to level up. Not just in game, but in our real lives too. So next time you're mad at a boss fight, or your friend spams Ike's forward smash over and over again, just take a breath. Hold on to your Spartan rage. For now, choose your next move from a place of relative stability. And remember, anger is not the opposite of peace. It might be the thing that leads you to it. If this video makes you think differently about anger, maybe share it with someone who you think might need it. We're all fighting our own bosses, and sometimes the hardest ones are emotional. As usual, at the end of my videos, I want to give you a reason to subscribe and keep moving forward. Your emotions don't define you, but they can be incredibly problematic if left unchecked. One step that you can take right now to control your emotions a little better is simply by clicking this video that's somewhere here, I think. Maybe over there? It's probably right here as I'm talking, so we'll find out real quick. Quickly, just click on this video of self-forgiveness. I find that that's one of the best vessels to learning to understand and connect with our own emotions, right? Especially when it comes to mastering anger. Self-forgiveness is a really big part of that. Check it out right there and find a new way to change your emotional life. Thanks for watching. I'm going to see you next time. Take care of yourself. Move intelligently today.